She stayed, through the bruises, the silence, the shame, because everyone told her that's what a good wife does. Her young son watched it all, too scared to speak, too small to save her. But years later, fate would bring that same son face to face with the man who broke their family, and this time, he wasn't a boy anymore. This is the emotional and chilling African tale of a woman who endured years of abuse, a son who grew up in silence, and the day justice came, not through fist, but through choice. Stay with us. This story will grip your heart and make you question what true strength really means. In the quiet village of Olaranda, tucked between hills and thick mango groves, lived a woman whose name everyone whispered, Iriti. Her name, meaning hope, was once full of laughter, dreams, and songs sung while pounding yam in the open courtyard. But marriage, as it turned out, crushed that name into dust. She had married Sunday, tall, handsome, respected. To the world, he was a man of principle. But behind the faded curtains of their clay house, Sunday was a beast caged only by the thickness of alcohol and the darkness of night. The first slap came just months after their son, Femi, was born. It wasn't the pain that stung, but the way he called her worthless right after. She thought it was a one-time loss of temper. It wasn't. The bruises turned routine. Her friends stopped asking about the marks. Her own family, especially her mother, told her to endure. Marriage is not sweet every day, they said. Stay for the child. And so, she did. Femi grew up watching his mother shrink into silence. He would sit on the cold cement floor as a boy, pretending to draw with sticks, but his ears were sharp. He knew the rhythm of his father's rage, the loud crash of a plate, the short scream from his mother, the sound of a belt being yanked off. He never said a word. Iriti tried to shield Femi, but how do you hide sorrow in a house that echoes with screams? By the time Femi turned 11, he had grown quiet, withdrawn. He would often disappear for hours, sitting under the giant mango tree near the stream. She found a torn book once in his pocket, The Brave Hunter, a school book she hadn't bought. He had stolen it, she realized. But she said nothing. If stories gave him peace, so be it. Then came the night that shattered everything. It was raining hard. Sunday stumbled home drunk, soaked to the bone. The power was out, and the lantern flickered as he stormed in, accusing Iriti of hiding money. She pleaded with him that there was nothing, but Sunday's mind, twisted by drink, would not hear it. That night, the beating was worse than ever. She collapsed, bleeding from the mouth, barely conscious. Femi stood in the corner, trembling. And then Sunday turned to him. You look at me like that again and I'll beat sense into you too, he growled. Femi didn't flinch. He stepped forward, small fist clenched, and for the first time in his young life, he spoke directly to his father. If you touch her again, I will kill you. The words were soft. Calm. Too calm. Sunday burst into laughter, amused by the boy's audacity. But something in Femi's eyes unnerved him, like he was staring into a future he couldn't control. That night, Iriti packed what little she could. With blood still drying on her clothes, she grabbed Femi's hand and walked out the door. No goodbye. No warning. Just silence. They disappeared into the night, swallowed by the storm. Years passed. But pain never forgets. And one day, fate brought them back. Only this time, the boy had become a man. And the tables were about to turn. Femi hadn't spoken about his father in over a decade. Now 23, he lived in Lagos, far from Olaranda, with his mother in a modest apartment. Life had not been easy, but they built something from nothing. Iriti worked as a seamstress, and Femi, quiet, focused, always reading, won a scholarship to study law. The irony didn't escape him, a boy raised in violence, now studying justice. He never forgot. His professors praised his sharp mind. His classmates admired his calm demeanor, though they never understood the quiet fire behind his eyes. He never told them about the scars he'd watched form on his mother's back. But those memories, those were what kept him awake at night and focused during the day. One Thursday afternoon, Femi sat across from a client at a legal aid center. It was a volunteer assignment, part of his internship. The case was simple, a man accused of petty theft. But halfway through the paperwork, a paramedic rushed in. "There's been an accident. We need help finding emergency contact information for a patient. He has no ID." He was mumbling a woman's name, Iriti. Femi's heart froze. No. It couldn't be. He followed the paramedic to the nearby public hospital, expecting a mistake. But there, lying on a gurney, was a man he hadn't seen in 12 years. Sunday. Older, thinner, beard gray and unkempt. His leg was in a cast, and one arm hooked to a bag of saline. His lips moved in sleep, dry and cracked. The nurses confirmed he had been homeless, hit by a motorcycle, brought in by Good Samaritans. All he kept saying was, "Iriti, forgive me." Femi stood at the doorway, rage and confusion colliding in his chest. His mother hadn't seen her husband since the night they fled. Femi had always assumed he'd drunk himself to death. But now here he was, broken, begging. He didn't go in. Not yet. Instead, he called his mother. She was silent for a long time when he told her. "I don't want to see him," she finally said. "Not because I hate him. But because I've healed. And healing means knowing some doors should remain closed." Femi hung up, heart pounding. He wasn't sure what he wanted. Justice. Revenge. Closure. That night, he returned to the hospital alone. Sunday was awake, groggy. His eyes scanned the room until they locked onto Femi's face. It's you, he rasped. Femi nodded. "You've grown," Sunday whispered. "Are you here to finish what you promised?" Silence. Then Femi walked over, sat down, and placed a file on the table. "It's not about killing you," he said slowly. "It's about making sure you know what you did. About facing it." Sunday looked away, ashamed. "I lost everything," he muttered. "No," Femi replied. "You threw it away." Outside, rain began to fall. Not the angry kind. A soft, cleansing drizzle. Femi stood. "I'm not here to help you. But I won't let you die like a ghost either. I've arranged for a lawyer. He'll take care of your papers, find you shelter after recovery. That's all." He turned to leave. Sunday called after him, "Why are you doing this?" Femi stopped at the door. "Because I refuse to become you." And then he walked into the night, the rain washing away the weight of 12 long years. Months passed. Femi never returned to the hospital. He didn't ask the lawyer for updates. He didn't need to. In his mind, Sunday had become a closed chapter, a man who had burned every bridge and was now left to wander the ashes of his choices. Iriti, on the other hand, continued life with grace. Her sewing business blossomed. Mothers brought their daughters to her for wedding fittings, never guessing the battles she had once fought alone. Her hands had once been used to cover bruises, now, they stitched beauty into every thread. But healing is a curious thing. Sometimes it doesn't arrive like thunder. Sometimes, it drips in quietly, through forgiveness, through silence, through peace. One day, Femi received a letter. It was written in shaky handwriting, the kind formed by fingers not used to gentleness. "Son, I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know, I've seen myself through your eyes now. Not the man I thought I was, but the monster I became. I've joined a support home for men like me, men who did terrible things and are now trying to die with something close to dignity. I carry every scream I ever caused, every night of silence I forced on you and your mother. You don't need to reply. Just know, I remember. Your father. Sunday. Femi folded the letter without a word. That night, Iriti found her son sitting under the balcony, holding the same old book, The Brave Hunter. The edges were worn now, the pages loose. But inside, scribbled in a child's hand, was a drawing, a woman with a headscarf, and a small boy beside her. Beneath it were the words, "One day, I will protect you." I kept this, Femi said softly, showing her the page. It reminded me of who I needed to become. Iriti reached for his hand. And you did, my son. You did. They sat in silence, watching the stars blink over Lagos. In that moment, nothing needed to be said. The past was still there, etched into their bones, but it no longer had power. Not over them. The next week, Femi took up a new case, one involving a young girl trying to escape an abusive uncle. He fought for her like he was fighting for the boy he used to be. This time, the ending would be different. In court, he stood tall, unshaken, a voice for the voiceless. And when the judgment came, justice served, he didn't smile. He just closed his file and walked out, knowing this was how healing looked now. Not in revenge. Not in punishment. But in using pain to light another person's path. This story isn't just about a man who changed, or a woman who survived. It's about a son who broke the cycle. About silence turned into strength. About scars turned into shields. Some wounds never fully close. But they don't have to bleed forever. And sometimes, the greatest justice is becoming everything your past tried to destroy. What would you have done if you were in Femi's shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful African stories that echo with truth, resilience, and healing.